We are back. Yankees Unloaded. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. We got a little fun show for you guys. Not going to be super long, but the whole point is we want to keep this thing going, right? We couldn't go live last night. We're live on a Friday night. Those of you that are here, awesome. Those of you who are not here, I'm sure you're listening to us after the fact.
Shame on you.
Yeah, right. So we really do appreciate you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button. Also, for the record, we have an interesting little show. We have some stuff to talk about. Ben Rice was snubbed in the Silver Slugger. We're going to be talking about that. Don Mattingly is no longer with the Blue Jays. We're going to be talking about that. Murakami was posted. We're going to talk about Murakami. And our big topic that we're going to lead off with, Michael King.
Yeah.
Could he come back to the New York Yankees? What are our thoughts? All of that. We're going to talk about it. So, Gary, let's get into Michael King. What were your first thoughts when all of a sudden Michael King, that stuff started coming out? Like, oh, I could see the Yankees have an interest and the Yankees might be interested. And I understand it's a whole lot of nothing, but I actually disagree to an extent. I think there's something here, and I would not be surprised if Michael King is back.
Funny that you say this because you're asking my first thought. I think my first thought was the Yankees love to develop starting pitching, and for some reason they like to invest elsewhere. And what's so interesting about it is that let's just say the Yankees make the decision, we're going to go get a Michael King. Okay, you can make that choice. That's a veteran guy that can start 30 games and dominate from time to time, right? He had a great 2024 season. He started 31 games. Injury riddled, right? In 2025, he only started 15. Still a solid ERA, 3.44, so he wasn't chopped liver, but it wasn't the Michael King that he wanted to be in a contract year. Having said that, anytime the Yankees are buyers on a player after a great year, Yankees fans or other fans will say the Yankees are buying high and this player is going to regress, right, to whatever the means are. And then anytime a player has a somewhat of a down year because of injury, it's not considered an opportunity for the Yankees to go out and get a player. Now, you've said, Jake, many times, and this was my first thought, was ERC, right? This is a young player that you're hopeful for. I believe he can be really good. This is a player out the Yankees system. It was a player that before Cam Schlittler showed up here, we said this is one of the names we would have given an opportunity to. Now, we may be just wrong about a prospect, right? Prospects fail all the time. It's not easy to develop prospects, but having said that, this is a very expensive solution. But the one thing I would say about signing a free agent, this is the beautiful part about it. If you sign a free agent, it happens to be a starting pitcher, someone you would trust to pitch a postseason game, you then get to use a player like ERC, where you can say trade that player and go get a position player of need, where the Yankees can go solve, say, third base. They can go solve whether or not you want Ben Rice playing first base or catcher. You can go solve catcher, go solve first, go solve left field defensively. What you want to do over there, go solve shortstop. Who knows what the Yankees will do with that surplus, but if the Yankees go, I guess, expensive starting pitcher, which I expect King to be, then at least we know he can pitch in New York. So, Jake, how do you feel about this? Because I know you really like Michael King. We would have all loved to keep him, but Juan Soto was needed in 2024, and we took that chance, and I guess we were so close, but yet so far.
There's something that I would say about a player who's traded away, understands it's a business. Guys always say, oh, yeah, it's a business. And then, actions speak louder than words. And then they finally get on a podcast in the offseason after, they won 78 games for their team. And they're like, yeah, kind of hurt, right? Like, kind of hurt. Like, I took it a little personal. It's like, why the hell did you say it was a business? Michael King said it was a business and then was asked this year when the Yankees played the Padres during that. He was asked in a presser, said, would you consider coming back to the Yankees? And his response was yes, he actually would. Now, he's a Rochester product. I'm not saying he was in the Bronx, but I mean, he's from New York. And basically his message was, it's still going to be a bidding war for me. But he's not like what Aroldis Chapman did, getting in his fields and saying, like, I'd rather die than pitch for the whatever the hell he said. Like, Michael King isn't doing that. Michael King isn't also going out and saying, oh, yeah, like, all 30 teams like Juan Soto did, they all have a chance.
Some players are financial, like they're money centric. And they're also, to be fair about Aroldis Chapman has been there, done that as far as contracts go. He's got his money. Chapman's probably made over $100 million as it stands, right? He made a lot of money. The Yankees made him a very wealthy man, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
It's not all bad with the Yankees. And he also blew quite a few big games with the Yankees. Okay? Having said that, we know some of it is valid, right? Some of it's not. Some of them happen against the Astros during the cheating scandal, so we absolve him from some of it. But having said all this, Chapman's fine financially. He doesn't need the Yankees to be bidding on him for him to get his next contract, right? He doesn't need it. Michael King, on the other hand, could really benefit from the Yankees going after him, because even if we don't go after him, similar to Yamamoto, a lot of people say, and they're entitled to this opinion, they said he was always going to the LA Dodgers. That's perfectly fine if you have that opinion. But the Yankees were after him. The Mets were after him. And so even if people think, oh, he was always going to the Dodgers still had to give him $340 million, roughly, plus a $30 million signing bonus. So if he was always going there, the Dodgers would have just offered him $200 and said, well, he's always coming here. But they had to go that high because the Yankees and Mets were pushing them. So I think in general, is it likely Michael King ends up back with the Yankees? I'd say it's not, but there's no question. If Brian Cashman's calling your phone, your price is going up.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I would be for a Michael King reunion. He's been just a very, very good pitcher, but he's only had 2 seasons where he's had over 100 innings pitched, and he is already 30, right? His best season as far as pitch count, or pitch, innings pitched.
Yeah, innings, I see.
173 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he's, say, worth as much as a Max Fried, are you giving him Max Fried money for a guy that really, he just struggled with injury this past year. He struggled with injuries before. That's my one holdup. And would it be a holdup if you and I were running the team? Because I think we could build a World Series,
I'd like to believe so.
We could build a dynasty. I have no question about it. But we're not running the team. We're told that there are confines that they have to operate within. We are told that essentially there's a salary cap, even though there's not. So it kind of scares me. And this is why I'm like, if you're going to go this route, obviously it rules out Tarek Skubal entirely.
Yes, it does.
It does make you the best rotation by a country mile. Their rotation would be lethal. We're talking.
Would you say, though, that what tier do you have Michael King at? Because we traded Michael King, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Michael King wasn't our ace, right?
Michael King is on the Max Fried tier.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. So it seems like an arm that could help you win regular season games, but almost an arm that has a ceiling that you really don't want to find out where it's at. Because I can tell you, when Max Fried took the mound in October, I felt like it could have went well. Like, I believed in him. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But it certainly could not, right? Like, Blake Snell didn't pitch well in the World Series. Full stop. He was not good. But it was somewhat of a surprise to Dodgers fans, right?
Yeah.
Because he's pitched well in that stage before. Has pitched really well in October before. Did so with the Rays, right? So Dodgers fans came in thinking, we can toss him the ball. He struggled with injury all year. They tossed him the ball. He didn't pitch well. It was a surprise. Yamamoto's already pitched well in October. They already know who he was going to be. And so he just gets to show up and be, right? Glass now. They knew what he's looked like in the postseason before. He's done it. So when he shows up to LA, there's a level that he can go to that the Dodgers are relying on to become back-to-back champions. That's what they're relying on. So, Jake, my conclusion here, Michael King is worth a big contract because of what he can do for a team during the regular season. My opinion on him is that when you put him in that Max Fried territory, there's levels to this gig. And
Yes.
when you're going up to $200 million, I think you need to be a little bit more careful throwing $200 million at pitchers that have a ceiling, that may pitch well in October, but they very well might not. And so I just think right now for the Yankees, they should be pumping the brakes and probably putting a little bit more faith in their young talent, right? You're talking about the Cam Schlitlers. They've done that. ERC, hopefully they can do it. But if you make the decision, I'm not going to go the ERC young arm route, you can make that choice. But if you go out and get an arm, a vet arm, it needs to be something at the top of the market, someone you can trust in a game one. And it seems like right now, other than Tarek Skubal, how many guys other than maybe a Joe Ryan out on the market, the Yankees have to actually get creative and make something happen. I don't think it's good enough to just go get another good arm and just have a bunch of good, if that makes sense.
No, that's absolutely fair. Now, there is a lot of, there's a lot of stuff out there, to be fair, about Michael King. Mm-hmm. A lot of different articles I was reading trying to project his contract. No one seems to know where it's going to be because he only threw 73 innings this year.
Yeah.
So it does complicate things. He mentioned bidding war, but that was early in the year. That was about May when they faced each other. Things obviously went south. I guess if I'm getting, I saw a projected contract, 3 years, $57 million. I would do that tomorrow.
That sounds a lot. Obviously not similar AAV. The contract I see for Michael King, before we wrap a bow on this, is what you saw with Alex Bregman. If you remember what happened with Bregman, his final year with Houston, I, to be honest with you, did not expect him to be gone. I expected him to retire in Astro. He obviously loved being there. There's no question about that. But when he was making a decision between the Mets and the Red Sox and all these different teams, and a lot of us thought he was going to Detroit, I was assuming, okay, he had a monstrous second half of the year, horrifying first half of the year, right? In that final year in Houston. He ends up signing a backloaded, essentially 1-year deal that he can just opt out of and reset his market, which he's doing right now. So I can see that from Michael King. Michael King, if he became a free agent after 2024, we trade him over there, you have an ERA under 3, right? You throw 31 games, you've proven you're a starting pitcher. What deal would he have got after that season? A lot of people would have said the Yankees could give him $200 million and we would have clapped for it. But now that year has just happened, he's not as attractive on the market. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if a team who signs him gives him some options where he can go high AAV, but they also can get out of that deal after year one.
Yeah. What's the highest you would go for Michael King?
AAV for 1 year?
Mm-hmm. Like, I would do Bellinger's contract. I would give him $25
I'm going to go
million.
22 million, somewhere in that ballpark, 25 million. I would say roughly in there, which, by the way, isn't risky if it's a 1-year deal.
I honestly think he should sign that. Like, if the Yankees offer him $25 million tomorrow,
right,
he should sign that. Be like, hey, it's a prove-it year. You've killed it in your career. Just show everybody you can do it again. Let's win a World Series or try to. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be really beneficial to him because there's no pressure. You're not the ace. You're not second. You're not third. You're fourth in the rotation.
Right.
You're ahead of Rodon. Although they're going to try and tell us
you do separate yourself based on performance anyway. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in the depth chart per se, right? Mm-hmm. If you're number 4 in the depth chart and you have the talent of a Michael King, let's just say, if you're dominating, they will toss you the ball in a game 2. They will. If you are dominant and Garrett Cole's a little bit behind on his Tommy John recovery, right? He's not the same arm yet, or he's still getting back to that. The Yankees would have no problem throwing Michael King on a mound in a game 2 or a game 3. You're going to be able to prove your value for your next contract, especially in New York when we're in a postseason setting. So, I wouldn't sign Michael King. It's just my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if they were able to get him on a 1-year deal, right? He hasn't really proven he can stay on the mound long term. Then I wouldn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I would bring back Michael King for the right price. That's where I'm at. I'm not going out of my way to get him. I still think it should be Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
Because I have no doubt in my mind, personally, I think King can pitch in the postseason. He has not been bad in the postseason.
Right.
But I know that Tarek Skubal is going to pitch on an elite level in the postseason. And if you're looking to kind of overturn your misfortunes, if you will, going out and getting Tarek Skubal is like the equivalent of getting Juan Soto in the pitching rotation. So
it's a big get. I mean, let's be honest. It would be just checking the box. You don't have to worry about him. It's a similar situation that the Dodgers find themselves in. The similar situation, if the Pirates ever sniff the postseason, a situation that they would see it. If they walked into a game one, who's pitching game one? Are you joking? Toss them the ball and get out of the way. You know who it is. So that's a situation the Yankees should be able to understand is who's pitching game one, but we need to start looking down the series. How do we get back to our ace, right? Someone that we can rely on and go from there. The Yankees really don't have that guy right now. I know Cam Schlittler has really started to separate himself, but you have to remember a lot of times what happens with young pitchers or rookies in general is there somewhat is a rebound situation where you rubber band the opposite way. You don't want to rely on a second-year pitcher to carry your organization as its ace. You need to find people who really are solutions at the top. I'm not sure if Michael King is that, but I mean, Jake, let's be honest. He definitely would help. I want to get to some of our supers. You guys have been great. Love to see the
hell yeah.
Some of you guys have ets, and some of you guys have names. John Fury 316, isn't it crazy? With the 7, we really appreciate it, John. Thank you for the support. Says, what is the backup plan if the Yankees don't re-sign Belly or don't sign Tucker? So, I would be honest with you guys. I do believe the Yankees are going to go more contact-centric here. They're going to give us, because you have to remember, the Yankees do make adjustments. Maybe not to the level or at the speed we want, but they do make them. Before, they used to have a team of 4 and 5 hitters, right? All strikeouts, trying to hit home runs, which is similar to what they do now. But, Jake, if you remember, it was all right-handed. The whole lineup was right-handed. And we would see right-handed reliever after power, right-handed slider, fastball combination reliever. And we were watching our hitters in postseason games chase sliders out the zone all game. It was the same out over and over again. It was like being in a recurring nightmare, right? So they made the adjustment of going left-handed, and then you look at it and say, well, they're 2 left-handed. Well, why do they have 3 left-handed DHs and first baseman? And now they need to make another adjustment. So I would say, Jake, that the backup plan, if they don't get Belly or Tucker, it's probably not a good offseason. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I would say not. But, Jake, what would you say is their first option if neither of those 2 players show up? Because I know that there's a rumor that Bellinger may return to the Dodgers if they don't get Tucker. And if we don't get Tucker, who the hell are we getting?
You know, I'm going to say something a little surprising to you.
Yeah.
The backup plan for losing out on Bellinger
I know what it is.
To go with... You don't know what it is. Nice try.
Oh, it wasn't Quan?
No.
Oh, who is it?
It's to go with the farm system, Spencer Jones, Jason Dominguez, but there's a catch.
Oh, this catch better be great.
Kyle Schwarber.
To play where?
I think that they would get him to be the first baseman.
Well, it'd be a great signing at first base, right? It does 2 things, right? You're replacing Austin Wells at catcher with Ben Rice, right? That's
now
an upgrade.
Austin Wells is available to be traded. So now that, he's a valuable asset that they could trade away.
He has a lot of value, but also Ben Rice now has a full-time open position at catcher.
Yes.
Kyle Schwarber is at first base. Now, there are a lot of people that when you say that you're going to go get a Kyle Schwarber or another power bat, I think Yankees fans are, even though I'm very I want this to be just, if I can sign four Stephen Kwans, I would, right? I want to see those type of at-bats.
I'm with you on that, by the way. I'm saying this is what I think they would do.
Kyle Schwarber would still be a great opening signing. You still need to go get contact-centric bats, probably 3 of them, at least.
Yeah.
But if you get Kyle Schwarber and he's your first baseman as opposed to Paul Goldschmidt, it's a major upgrade. Offensively, it's massive. He hits in October. He hits during the regular season. He's often available. It's a good signing. It just is. Is it the perfect signing? I don't think there's a perfect one out there. So that's interesting. I wasn't thinking about it. Did you start seeing that on Twitter or just at least people talking about it?
I just thought of it. I
like
it. I feel like people are going to hate on it and say, well, he's a home run and strikeout guy. I'm going to push back on that.
He's not that.
Because he strikes out a lot. He does. But he's also gotten much better at the plate patience-wise. He's had back-to-back-to-back seasons of triple-digit walks. Okay, so let's not act like he doesn't get on base. And his on-base percentage has been 343, 366, and 365 the last 3 years. And we've seen a guy who has had an over 900 OPS, in 4 of the last 7 years.
Can I ask our audience something? Because I feel like it needs to be asked.
Yeah.
When you say, let's go get Kyle Schwarber, I think the reason people tense up is because they believe if we go get Kyle Schwarber, we're going to abandon the idea of going more contact-centric. I don't think that's true. You can only say that when the offseason's concluded, when it's done. So let me ask the audience this, and Jake, I'm really asking you as well. If they sign Kyle Schwarber as a free agent, right? No prospect goes out the door. He's your first baseman. Okay, we just slide him over there. No questions asked. And they trade for Steven Kwan. Are you guys still worried about the home run strikeout approach of Kyle Schwarber? Kyle Schwarber is a great October player, as I've said. He hits every October. It's a foregone conclusion. Yeah. But if they got both of those players, and Steven Kwan's your everyday leadoff hitter, are you still worried about the signing of Schwarber? Probably not, right? So the only reason I have this takeaway, Jake, is because the Yankees are going to have a problem if they sign a player like Kyle Schwarber and they're signing more players like him, right? Let's just say you go out and get a Murakami, right? You go out and get Schwarber. Well, you're bringing in good players. The problem there is you're bringing in too many players that are alike. You need to do both in this offseason. There's a lot, right? We've talked about Rosario. We've talked about the contact-oriented players that we need on this team, or some of the players that haven't existed on this team. The Yankees need those to survive in October. So Schwarber wouldn't help that, but he certainly helps a lot in other ways. So I'm not going to act like Kyle Schwarber's not this borderline future Hall of Famer that could really help us. He's not the perfect fit, but he is somewhat of a fit. Let's be real.
I will say this. Schwarber, if this was the year like Stanton was retiring, Schwarber would 100% be a Yankee. Like, I have no doubt in my mind he'd be the perfect DH for them.
I would agree with that.
Because Judge, I just have a feeling, is just going to play tug of war with them. He doesn't want to be a DH. He doesn't want to be a first baseman. He's going to want to stay in the outfield. When you're the captain, you make as much money as he does, he's going to push back against some things. Say what you will. He's going to. And so, you might just be shit out of luck on that side. But if you could get a guy who plays 162 games a year, or at least did this year, hits 50 home runs, 130 RBIs, and put him with Judge, and put him with Ben Rice, and that's when it becomes interesting. Now, this is, again, not what I would do. This is not what I would do. But I'm just saying, keep an eye on Kyle Schwarber. I think he is the backup plan if they miss out on Bellinger and Kyle Tucker. Here's my concern. I worry about them forcing themselves more towards Kyle Tucker, not getting him, and not paying attention to Cody Bellinger and have just him walking. Like,
if you're going to pay attention to Kyle Tucker, get Kyle Tucker.
Yeah,
don't tell me
just
you tried
beat around the bush. And
no,
the Yankees are seriously playing with fire here, Gary. I mean, this could be a really good offseason.
Yes,
if it could. I'm not saying it's going to, but they have the potential to go out and get two of the best outfielders in baseball. Both of them. They have the potential to. They could, or they could miss on both of them, put themselves in a situation where now you don't have Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker, or Cody Bellinger.
Because we're waiting for the perfect fit. We're waiting for the 22-year-old phenom that, and then when that player becomes available, they're just, well, the Mets and the Dodgers are going to get him, so the Yankees won't go that high. I'm like, well, then which player is it that you guys want, right?
And I'm not trying to hear we tried. No, shut the hell up. You tried to get Yamamoto. You were outbid by almost $100 million of the Dodgers. Are you kidding me? You didn't try. You didn't play in the same game. That's like...
No, I did. That was one of the things that did bother me. We both agree, because I remember you telling me, you said, no, Yamamoto was always going to the Dodgers. And you were right. I didn't want to hear that, right? Even though I knew that. I didn't want to hear it because the Yankees' offer wasn't close to good enough.
It wasn't. So bad. Do you know what it was like? It's like
what?
You're texting. So you and another dude. It's like, you versus who you should be worried about, those memes.
Yeah.
It's like you both are texting the same girl. This dude's going out on dates with this girl. He's gone on like 5 dates. The other dude is texting her, won't ask her out.
Yep.
This dude thinks he's like, oh, I got her in the bag. He's telling all his friends. The guy hasn't told his soul, and he's going out on dates with her. Okay?
Yep.
That was the Dodgers. Show me, don't tell me. The Yankees were all about, like they basically were leaking all this news about how they were all over Yamamoto. And the Dodgers weren't leaking shit. They were just like, yeah, we're too busy. We're not leaking. We're too busy just throwing money at Yamamoto. And there you go. That's how it went down. That's exactly how it went down.
Turns out they're at Nobu having meetings with different players.
Yeah.
The Yankees are like, I won't get involved in the meetings. They'll take care of the business side.
Exactly.
What are you guys doing?
How about Roki
what are you doing?
Sasaki? We knew Roki Sasaki was going to the Dodgers for 2 years.
Yep.
And then there were people that actually thought Roki Sasaki was going to go to the Mets. He literally, his camp told us, oh, he's going to the Dodgers. The only way he wasn't going to the Dodgers, and by the way, this is why the Yankees totally whiffed on that. The only way he doesn't go to the Dodgers is if the Yankees pony up the funds and get Yamamoto. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, that was not impossible. If the Yankees had actually gone toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and offered him $50 million more than the Dodgers absolutely could have come back and offered him more. But if they didn't, he goes to the Yankees.
Yeah, because that was the situation that you were in. Very similar, right? I want people to understand where you're coming from with this, because people are always under the impression that no matter what the Yankees offered, he would have chosen that, or the Mets, for example. Let's use Garrett Cole as the perfect example of this. We all know he wanted to pitch for the Yankees. Everyone knew that. He was actually very close with signing with the Angels. Reason being is that the Yankees didn't want to go past $350 million. The Angels were at $350 million. I believe we were in the $320 to $330 ballpark, right? And I was sitting there thinking, well, why the reports are coming out that Brian Cashman and the Yankees were hesitant to go past that $330 mark. And I'm thinking, how could that be? This is the perfect free agent. You're taking him off a rival. This just doesn't make sense. George would be rolling over in his grave. This is what I was snickering and saying around my house, right? I was talking to myself. And then all of a sudden, I look down at my phone, and it's a Passan bomb, or a Passan bomb, that says Garrett Cole has reached an agreement with the New York Yankees, right? My heart starts pounding. Wow, I see $360 million. I'm like, great, they finally pulled the trigger there. But Garrett Cole always wanted to be a Yankee. Remember the sign, Yankee for life, all this stuff? The Yankees still had to be the highest bidder to go get the player, right? And Garrett Cole very clearly loves pitching for the Yankees. But sometimes you also need to take care of the business side for a player to come play for you. That has to be the expectation. Don't tell me who wants to be a Yankee. Players want to make the most money for them or their family. That's their choice. So if you want to go get a Yamamoto, you want to get a Michael King, you want to get a Kyle Tucker, whichever free agent tickles your fancy, you have to go out and show them the money if you have any expectation to go get the player. That's just how this business works. Stop going to the free agency table and say, hey, remember us? You dressed like us during Pony League Baseball, Little League? Guys, the whole Yankees, oh my God, the pinstripes, it's very cool to all of us when we're really young. But once you get into Major League Baseball, they get really used to playing the Yankees and playing for the Yankees. You get somewhat used to it. It's still cool, but it's not going to carry you in negotiation. They're not just going to give you a $75 million discount. We still had to outbid the Giants to go get Aaron Judge, the player who is our captain of our team right now. He was inches, Jake, from signing with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
So people need to understand, if you want a free agent, show them the money, and they will be on your team for the most part, right? And obviously there are exceptions. Trey Turner didn't go play for the Padres. They offered $50 million more. But for the most part, that's what players do, making decisions.
By the way,
Ninja Hot Dog, what's up?
That report, so I see people saying like the Yankees offered him $300 million. Hal himself has told us that didn't happen.
Hal did say it didn't happen. I saw all the reports that said the Yankees offered $300 million, but I will tell you, Jake, when someone makes the offer, the Mets did this in year one with Juan Soto. The Mets paid Juan Soto $120 million this year. A lot of people don't know that. But with signing bonuses and his everyday salary, which is roughly $50 million, Juan Soto netted $120 million in 2025, right? Yamamoto made $50 million.
Yeah.
Going on top of his salary, which is over almost $30 million in 2025, he made close to $85 million in 2025. That's a major sweetener to signing with these teams. So when you look at the deals and how they were structured, the deal wasn't close. The Dodgers offered the best package as far as when the money was showing up, how it was showing up, and how much of it there was.
And more years. And two opt-outs. So
it was just better.
And it's the Yankees. It's obviously Cashman, because there's this ego aspect. Like, well, the deal that I made is the best deal. You should take it. And they'll be like, well, we're going to do this, but do you want to match it? Do the Yankees ever match an offer? It feels like they don't. They always have their own structure, right? They can't get off the, oh, well, we're going to offer, like, why? Like with Soto, why were you playing games with that? Now, I understand at the end of the day, we found out Juan Soto basically didn't give the Yankees another chance, or whatever it was. Was it Soto? Was it Boris? Either way, the Yankees didn't get another chance to match it. He was never going there. But the point being is, like, the Yankees always have their own way of doing things. Like, they can't just match the Dodgers. I think
most people agree with that.
They can't just give him $50 million on the signing bonus. They never had a signing bonus. You have to understand, like, what deal in professional sports doesn't come with a signing bonus?
I will say, yeah, usually they do, right? Like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the majority of his contract is actually stipulated on signing bonuses. I don't know if you do this, but a ton of it is signing bonus related. But the Yankees do need to get a little bit more creative. And I will say, when you go out and sign superstars, a lot of times it makes you, oh my God, that much? Really? Wow. Shohei Ohtani signed for $700 million, and I was telling my friends and family, they were saying, no one's worth $700 million. Nobody. I understand that he's a great player, but no one's worth that type of money. And I looked at them dead in their face and said,
absolutely is.
Well, actually, I didn't even bother arguing, because I know I'm going nowhere with that argument, but of course he's worth it. He's from Japan. Do you have any idea the market over there? Do you have any clue? And mind you, I'm just sitting there having this argument to myself, but then you see the report that Shohei Ohtani's already returned their money for the entire contract in year one, right? Halfway into year two. And you look at that and say, maybe the Juan Sotos and the Shohei Ohtani's and the Aaron Judges are actually worth more than these ludicrous numbers that we see out there, right? When we total up their whole contract and say the number, Kyle Tucker, for example, getting to $300, $400 million, it sounds like an overpay, but when you're in the ALCS and going into a World Series, do you really care that Kyle Tucker is making $34 million, $36 million? Do you really care about that? Did anyone care how much money Mookie Betts made this year? Like, does anyone focus on his contract? I just think you need to look at the players that are coming inbound. Be more serious about, is this a player you want to be a Yankee? And focus a little bit less on what that player makes and trying to play GM. I think we're almost, in a way, Jake, stuck in this cycle of trying to be so responsible with the dollar rather than focusing on, is that guy good to be in pinstripes as a player? And it's an ugly place to be.
No, I agree. And Ninja Hot Dog burned into the screen here. Appreciate the 5. Hot take: King is more worth the $22 million contract than Grisham is. Well, I don't know how hot that take is. I believe you're right. Let's use this to pivot to Grisham. Because I left him out of our show plan because I'm an idiot, even though I literally talked about this all week.
The qualifying offer.
Yeah, Trent Grisham was offered the qualifying offer. It's $22.05 million. Okay?
Good move.
Great move.
Yeah.
There are going to be people that don't know why we're saying that.
Okay.
Because, and I understand why. Trent Grisham is a one-year wonder. Potentially. We'll see.
Potential.
Now, I was all for bringing him back until I saw the postseason, and I want nothing to do with him after that. I'm sorry. I can't get that taste out of my mouth. It was bad. He was a total non-factor.
Yep.
That said, I appreciate his contributions. I'd like my compensatory pick now. There are people in the comments section, Gary, that are complaining about this move. And they are saying that he is going to take this money. Gary, you were the first one to bring this up. I want to say now it feels like probably a month ago. And you brought up the prospects of why players wouldn't take a qualifying offer in 2026 because of the likely lockout in 2027.
That's right.
Now, doesn't mean that we won't get baseball all of 2027, but probably fewer games.
Definitely.
Definitely fewer games, stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's in limbo. Typically, stuff like that, like say, with COVID-19, right? And you had kind of the whole, we're not sure what's going to happen. Guys are more likely to take longer deals when they're aware things on the horizon are murky. That's just the reality.
If you and I knew, let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's do that. If a gambling company was like, we want to sponsor Yankees Unloaded, okay? There very well could be a lockout next winter. You know that, Jake. I know that. But there was a company out there that was like, boys, we want to sponsor your show. We want to sponsor it for all of 2026, the whole year, all of 2027, and all of 2028. And you and I were looking at each other and said, okay, great. What's the catch? They said, well, the catch is if you sign with us, we'll make sure that your contract is guaranteed if there is a lockout. You'll have that protection. You and I would be like, sounds good.
Where do I sign?
Sounds great. Where do we sign that deal? Because keep in mind, guys, a lot can happen during these lockouts. Some of these players that you think, oh, that guy had a down year. Oh, that guy had a career year. That player wants to ink his deal according to how he just played. That's just common sense. That goes for any of us. If we do something well at our normal day jobs and we have a great quarter and our boss brings up those statistics, you want your salary to go up. You want that promotion. That's exactly what Trent Grisham wants today. So, totally valid. Trent Grisham looks up and says, well, I'm a pure power bat, right? He's a home run or walk guy. He'll hit at the top of the lineup. He did that this year. He hit 6 homers in 2019, 10 homers, 15, 17, 13, 9, and 34. Didn't play a lick in 2024, right? Sat behind Alex Verdugo. What is that worth contractually? That's a league minimum contract. If you're doing that, sitting behind Verdugo, he goes out and starts for the New York Yankees and runs out in center field, right? They were trusting him enough to take postseason at bats. And if he would have played well in October, people probably would have been throwing $85 to $100 million deals at Trent Grisham. That is Trent Grisham. Has never had a season anywhere close to this. He could have very well have figured it out. Aaron Boone suggested that he very well has, but it's a gamble to sign a player who just had his best year, his only real good year, in his final year. So may work out. He could sign with the Giants, have a great rest of his career. I hope he does. I hope he makes hundreds of millions. I do. But Jake, to your point, will he want to take a 1-year qualifying offer with the Yankees, which is still a lot of money, right? $22 million, and then just suddenly reset his free agency in the middle of a lockout? Hasn't made his money yet? I'd say I doubt it. I think the Yankees are going to get their pick.
Yeah, by the way, that would be a 4th rounder. That's really high for a guy that was a throw-in in a trade. Really
That's
high.
right.
So sign me up for that. love that they did this. I respect him more for having done this. He's not going to take the deal. He might like I've seen in the comments that he might get less AAV. I don't know if you guys have seen. Now, I'm not saying that these are the end all be all, but some of these, contract projections are very interesting over on ESPN. Very interesting.
Are they low or are they high?
Trent Grisham is at 22.5 AAV. And his projected contract is 4 years, $90 million.
I had 4 years, $80 million in my mind. I think I would agree. If Trent Grisham is going to ink a deal with your team and you're going to go into the 20s, yes, your qualifying offer may be $22 million, but a $22 million deal at 1 year isn't close to the same value as getting $20 million a year, taking that $2 million and some change pay cut, but you've got the same contract going consistently for the next 3 seasons, way more valuable.
Yeah. By the way, the Yankees not offering Gleyber Torres a qualifying offer last year remains one of the dumber things I think that they've done.
Do you think he would have accepted it just for the simple fact of he ended up signing a short deal with the Tigers?
Nope. He signed a 1-year deal with the Tigers, and I still don't think he would have accepted it because I don't think he felt he was going to have to sign a 1-year deal. I think he felt he had done enough because keep in mind how late in the free agency he signed.
Yes, he did. So, I would agree with you. I think Gleyber thought that the market would have been better.
And you can't, just because I want to put that out, you can't be like, oh, I don't have any interest. Is that qualifying offer still on the table? Doesn't work that way. Once it's declined, it's declined. So
yeah, it's kind of brutal. You basically RSVP to the party and you say you're not going. You don't get to go now. That's just kind of how it works. Yeah. And by the way, Bill super chat. Bill, first and foremost, thank you for the super. Appreciate the 5. Kind of the same premise here. It says from King, a 1-year deal is risky if there's no 2027. We completely agree with this. We do. He'd lose a year with no money. He needs to consider that. Bill, this is also part of the reason why we think there are going to be a lot of contracts, to Jake's point as well, that'll be lower than you guys are anticipating, right? Kyle Tucker, they're projecting him at $450 million. There's a possibility that he may agree to less AAV. Same with Cody Bellinger, right? He's going to be looking at a multi-year deal, most likely. He had played on a 1-year this year. Well, my expectation is that some of these players, am I really going to give up all those years to try to maximize 1 year? What if I don't play well, right? Anthony Rizzo didn't think his last year with us was going to be his last season as a baseball player. He didn't think that. So a lot happens quick.
Buyout. Like it was like, what, $11 million?
Yeah, I would love that.
The Yankees literally were just like, here's $11 million, leave. Like
now go golf.
Yeah, like that's what they did. So hey, I mean, you never know. By the way, Kazuma Okamoto on that ESPN article, which I found really interesting, 3 years, $36 million. Like,
I'm gonna take it all. I'm gonna take it all with a grain of salt. I don't know how much they know or how involved they are. I'm sure there's a baseball writer in there that's coming up with this.
Yeah,
somewhere, but it's also really hard to predict. I don't think anyone projected Shohei Ohtani to get $700 million. I think a lot of us were projecting into the 500s, right? We hadn't seen those numbers before. We've seen 400 before. We saw, I believe, with Mike Trout, it was 426.5 in that ballpark. So we expected to see 500 groundbreaking numbers, but I didn't expect to see an ESPN drop of 700. I didn't expect that. So who knows which direction this is going? It's all new to us. Right? Jake, this is the first time we've covered this team or baseball in general leading up to a lockout. It's not good for anyone. It's not. It is. That's the rough part about this is what the hell we do with our podcast when we're locked out.
Hey, I'll tell you right now.
What's up?
We have a lot of stuff that we have not discussed that we should just probably push to next week.
Yeah, I would, because I mean, we might as well get to the supers and make sure everything is discussed. Ninja Hot Dog with the 5. Ninja, we appreciate it. Says, thank you for the 5. It said, I'd still be worried about the home run approach if we sign Tony Gwynn because of how coaching seems to push the home run or nothing strategy on players like with Volpe. So I do want to address this. I think that would be fair, right? So I want you guys to realize how important having the right personnel for the style that you want to play. Now, Ninja brings up the point that let's just say we go out and trade for, I would say, the perfect player for our roster. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I'll give you my opinion. Steven Kwan would be the ideal player for the Yankees to acquire. Now, if you look at the Yankees roster as it currently stands, I'll start with the good parts. Jason Dominguez isn't a boomer bust player, right? He's a switch hitting guy, more contact oriented. A lot of people want the power, but he's not a pure power bat, right? So that's a good thing. Trent Grisham started in center field for the Yankees. Clear as day, power strikeout bat. That's who he is. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge, MVP of the league. Awesome. Third baseman Ryan McMahon, every bit of the upside that we heard was about the glove, first and foremost, and the potential of 20 home run power. Wasn't that exactly what we heard, right? There was nothing else, Jake, that anyone presented us other than defense and power from Ryan McMahon. That's what we got at third base. Anthony Volpe, to Ninja's point, is a clear as day power bat. Alex Rodriguez joins the Fox broadcast. All he talks about is the fact that Volpe's committed to being a power bat. It's not good. Jazz Chisholm is a 30-30 player. He's got speed in his game. That's a good thing. But he's a power bat. He's looking to hit home runs. Doesn't really care that much if he strikes out 150 times a year. Not a concern of his. Not a Bo Bichette type bat, right? That's his game. First base, Paul Goldschmidt still will strike out, but we went platoon over there. Not too much of an issue. And catcher finally with Austin Wells, pure strikeout or power bat. You cannot have that many strikeout or bust guys and expect the coaching staff to turn them into Blue Jays type-esque at bats. Not going to happen. So I do blame somewhat of the coaching staff that they need to do a better job. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if the Yankees want to have this approach that you guys are all proud of, they do need to sign some players that can actually do that. Cody Bellinger was one of those guys where you say, I can trust him to have those type of at-bats. I almost forgot to name him, but I'm glad I remembered it now. You need more Cody Bellinger-like guys, more Steven Kwan-like guys, Bo Bichette's. Otherwise, you're asking a player to do something with their skill set they've never done.
No, that's absolutely true. I really want Steven Kwan. You really want Steven Kwan.
What about your dad?
My dad really wants Steven Kwan.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping they make that happen. It actually is really funny to me how you look at the Blue Jays, the way that they did their lineup in the World Series. Mm-hmm. They had a guy who set the record for most hits in the World Series batting 8th. And I ultimately believe that is what cost them the World Series.
So you would have let him off?
I would have put him in the top 5 at the very least.
It's fair. I'm sure part of their thought process, because remember, they use analytics. Mm-hmm. They're not overly analytical. They're not, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, I'm sure they probably looked at it, because there's a way where you can say, if we moved him to the top of the lineup, right? Anthony Volpe at one point in his career was hitting in the 7th and 8th spot, and then people said, well, why can't he lead off, right? We discussed this. And then we moved him to lead off, and he fell off a cliff, right? Now, would he have fallen off a cliff? Maybe not. I would actually agree with you that the promotion actually could have made some real impact. But who knows? Maybe they made that choice because they're saying maybe he's hitting that way because we slid him down at 8th. I don't know what they thought.
They also pinch ran Bo Bichette, and that was hilarious.
What did he have? Was it 30 hits, by the way?
30 hits.
And Ernie Clement?
Ernie Clement.
Wow. It's a hell of a postseason.
Yeah, Aaron Boone lookalike.
What do you have? How many hits did he have in that postseason?
Aaron Boone?
I would love to know. Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm gonna look it up.
It would be a good questionnaire. I have no idea. But
what
Ninja, thank you for the super. Oh God. I mean, I would honestly guess like what, 5?
I was gonna say 5. Let's see what it is.
Rich Squires, welcome back in, my man.
9 hits. He hit
9 hits.
170, 498 OPS.
Okay. So nice little DJ LeMahieu back end of his career ops. Appreciate it. I mean, it was a big hit. Let's be real. Big hit.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Some people think it won him the job, but I don't believe that. I think it's more analytics. Boone loves analytics, and that's what got him the job. But Rich Squires with the 5. Rich, thank you for supporting the channel. We really appreciate it. Says Hal is more worried about profits than bringing back a title to the Bronx. There, it's been said. Rich, I think Hal would love to win as much as anyone, but he's not willing to do as much about it. He doesn't want to take a ton of risk. That's what he said. And I don't want you to just listen to my opinion and think, oh, I'll back Gary's opinion. No, just listen to what Hal says. Hal said, right, to the media, what the Dodgers are doing is very risky. We'll see if they stay healthy. And you guys have all seen the tweet. We'll see if they stay healthy, if things bounce their way. He made it sound like they were playing a game of craps in Las Vegas. No. It's not a game of luck. It's amazing how people think the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They think that the Los Angeles Dodgers are incredibly lucky, and then when they win, right, they think, oh, they're going to need a lot of luck, and then when they win, they say it was a foregone conclusion. We all knew they were going to win, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
You have to control your own luck to some level. Is there luck involved in sports at some point? Absolutely. Of course there is. You can hit a ball 120 and go right to a glove and to be the end of your season. We all understand that. But to walk into a season and not take some level of risk by putting extra investment into a player. Maybe that player has an injury history, putting extra money towards him, right? Going the extra mile financially to put talent on the field. Hal Steinbrenner is not willing to do that. Does he care about this team? I believe he does. I think Hal Steinbrenner really cares about the Yankees and really wants them to win. But in all seriousness, is he willing to do what needs to be done to make sure this team wins? There's no question. The answer to that question is no. And how long will we have to go as a winless franchise as far as titles go where he says, I'm going to change what I do? And some people think that's forever. We can go 40 years until he passes the organization to somebody else. But Jake, I think, unfortunately, you told me he was 55 years old. Isn't that what you told me?
Yep.
Yeah, it's insane.
Unfortunately. Oh, good Lord.
And I don't wish him to be 80, but I didn't expect 55, Jake. So it's going to be a while, guys, and something has to change at some point from Hal's perspective. This is Brian Cashman aside. This is Aaron Boone aside. This is at the ownership level. That has to make a tweak, an adjustment of aggressiveness where people, fans of this team, like Rich Squires, like myself, like you, Jake, where we can look at it and say, oh, we're really going for it now. That would be a good feeling. So maybe we get it this offseason. I'm going to give them an opportunity. I'm not holding my breath, but people would get upset with me if I just went in and said there's no chance at all we do anything, but I'm not going to call anything likely.
No, I get that. The thing I always find funny about the whole Hal and profits is like, even if you just look at it from an optics standpoint, the fact that Hal didn't even bother pursuing Shohei Ohtani is hilarious.
It is funny.
All I care about is money, but Shohei Ohtani, who could make me more money than I've ever seen in my life, nope, not even going to try.
The Yankees should have offered Shohei Ohtani an $800 million contract and let him go to the Dodgers for $700 million, and you put your head high. That's what you should do. Because if they receive their money back, you know what that tells me? If you like money and that's all you're concerned about, shouldn't you just throw the wallet at the player who's going to make you the most money? Isn't that what you should have done? And then if he says no to you, then you just basically have to live with it. You didn't even try. Oh, he just wants to go West Coast. So what? So did CC Sabathia. He didn't want to play for the Yankees. And you went and got him anyway. That's how this business works. If somebody doesn't love the opportunity of going to play for you, show them some money to get them through the door, and then maybe they learn to love it. Maybe.
Our friend Mark, not Raging Pianist, but also Raging Pianist, but I also prefer Mark. New Phone Who Dis. That's a good game, by the way. I played that the other night. Good game. B-Rye. I'm hoping Trent declines his qualifying offer. How would you feel about Bader for center? Dominguez,
oh my gosh.
Jones left. Dude, this my face lit up when I saw Bader in the comment section because you sent me. Anyway, we'll get to it. But Dominguez Jones left, Judge right field, trade Jazz, McMahon, revamp infield with Bo, Bregman, Murakami. Well, I mean that'd be nice, but they don't have a payroll that they do have the payroll, but they would refuse to spend and do all that's necessary to make that happen.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's interesting with Jazz, man, because I understand trading him, but he just won the Silver Slugger, and it's really interesting because you look around the league and it's like if you're not getting Ketel Marte, you're not getting a better player than Jazz Chisholm at second base.
Yeah, no, it's more so about not comparing 1v1 of the player because I know when people say, well, is Jazz a better player than so-and-so? A lot of times Jazz will get the edge. He's a good player. It's more so about does Jazz play the style of baseball that works in October as opposed to just looking at a player, right? Kyle Schwarber, there were people who said, oh, Kyle Schwarber wouldn't be a fit for this roster. But yet, if we said how many players in the league are better than Kyle Schwarber, the list isn't that long. It's not. It's not that long. But there's a such thing as fit, right? You cover the NFL. I've talked about it a lot. For some rosters, a roster that's got two dynamic corners, it's not as valuable for them to go out and sign Jalen Ramsey. It's just not. But a team that really struggles in their secondary, it's much more valuable to go out and get a very good corner in the NFL. And really, I'm just giving you a name who's good at cornerback, but you get the point. I wanted to read the text that I sent to you, right? And this is about Bader in center field. Now, Bader is not the main attraction, right? The idea of going to get Bader means you did something else, right, on the roster. Now, here's exactly what I sent to you, Jake. I said, in my opinion, the perfect offseason, and again, I don't think it's likely, but I would be the most happy with this offseason. We make the trade for Steven Kwan, and this is for Jason Dominguez and Will Warren, or whichever package makes it work, right? Makes that fly. We sign Bo Bichette as a free agent. I know Bo Bichette isn't the perfect free agent because he's not dynamic at shortstop defensively, right? You'd say it's a downgrade from Anthony Volpe or Caballero at shortstop. That's fine. But the ceiling offensively, as far as postseason at-bats, Bo Bichette hits in May. He hits in June, July, September. He's hitting in October. Nothing's a problem for him. Nothing. He just wakes up. You mentioned the break that he took. He just showed right up, and I was like, oh, this seems like the smart play, but man, I wonder what he's going to look like. Just showed back up and raked like he's been taking at-bats the whole time. Couldn't believe it. Bo Bichette would be a great signing. I don't love it, but Sandy Alcantara would be a fit last year of his deal. It's not a ton of money. It's roughly $10 million a year. Not a problem. He's a little bit of a Band-Aid to solve the problem. No Garrett Cole, no Rodon, right? ERC is chomping at the bit to get on the roster. Could be just a little bit of a wedge and wait on him. Maybe you sign a player like an Edwin Diaz to go out into that bullpen who gets strikeouts, who can control the zone. And if Spencer Jones, this was the key, Spencer Jones is right now, and we believe that he could develop out of that, of being a strikeout guy, but it's still part of his game right now. If Spencer Jones can get me Joe Ryan, right, and if that's a name I've talked about, I do that, right? If he doesn't, then I put him in the outfield in center field, but if he does, I pull the trigger on that, and I go Harrison Bader, a defensive center fielder who's struggled with his health, right, staying on the field. That's always been a problem for him. But it's not going to be a long-term contract. So there isn't a ton of risk. And if something happens to him, they can always replace him. So that is my answer as far as what to do. Ninja Hot Dog brought up earlier that it's about the coaching staff. I believe if you bring in roster players, either them or players like them, Steven Kwan, Bo Bichette, guys like that, where you say they put the ball in play, I think the Yankees will be maybe close to what they were during the regular season this year, overall 93, 94 wins. But when they flip the script into October, just night and day difference offensively. I think it would be, your dad would be happy. We both would be happy. I think our audience would enjoy Yankees baseball plenty more.
How would you not be happy, adding, guys like that? But B-Rye also, by the way, re-upped and became a diamond level member. So
B. Ryan, welcome in. And by the way, just to remind you, so thank you, Jake, obviously appreciate you noticing that. I saw you became a member. Can't see from my angle which level of membership you had, but you now can leave voicemails, which I believe Ninja Hot Dog has already left one. We're going to get to that.
And Kyle Malay.
And
Buzz
Kyle Malay
Lightyear
as
himself.
well. Yep, Buzz Lightyear. Nothing would make me happier than Halloween of 2026 if Kyle Malay was Buzz Lightyear. That would be the greatest thing for Halloween. I would absolutely love it. It would be hysterical. Kyle, I will pay you. I will bring $20 cash to Yankee Stadium if you show up to our event at the stadium in a if they'll let you, dressed as Buzz Lightyear. Consider yourself paid, my man.
I think you can, as long as you don't have like the riot shield over the face.
I
You
see.
know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
They'd be like, all right, that's a little.
It's
you
a little
know.
much. Yeah, get a
Yeah.
grip. But yeah, Kyle, anything Buzz Lightyear related, it'll play. And Jersey Girl with the 5. So again, thank you for becoming a member. Jersey Girl says, how come the Yankees have not been able to tap into the Japanese market like LA, logistics, interest? Yeah, I can actually answer this. So this is flight oriented. So if you're from Japan, you cannot fly nonstop from the East Coast. And so that is a major problem. You hop on a private jet, and I know it sounds a little silly because for people like us, right? Most of us fly internationally one time, right? We finally bring up our funds in our 50s. We head off to Europe. Maybe we retire at 65. We take off to Europe, right? We take off to Japan, right? Check that box. For these guys, they want to hop on the jet, right, at their private airport and dip and sit on the flight. They pay for the $650 private jet and they want it to take off, and they don't have to stop, land, and wait an hour, taxi for an hour. They want to be able to take off and land in their hometown, and that's reasonable. The market loves to cover the West Coast teams. The time zone seems to work out a lot better. But to navigate around that, you have to sweeten the pot a little bit, right? You still have to take those meetings. You have to impress them over other things that aren't travel related, right? That aren't media centric. You're going to have to figure that out, right? The Mets have figured out Cody Senga. They were able to figure out how to sign him. There are other players, right, in the Japanese market. Hideki Matsui signs with the New York Yankees. And they thought about, right, what would it look like with the Seattle Mariners, right? Ichiro Suzuki. What would it look like with the Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres? These are all teams that Japanese players seem to consider first and foremost, and that's usually what it's related to. But, Jake, if the Yankees could go out there and start winning, right, winning World Series championships, the Japanese culture, I would honestly say you mentioned that they tend to hit a lot, right?
Yeah,
they
they
find
do.
their way. They know how to play baseball. They know how to play, right? And having said that, if you really want people to buy into the pinstripes, put it in the World Series and have them popping champagne in the World Series, the Yankees pinstripes would look a lot different. And the same goes for the Dallas Cowboys, right? We're not the Dallas Cowboys, and we win a lot more, let's be real. But if the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl in 2027, that would change how people felt going into the NFL draft, right? Going into free agency. Now, all of a sudden, people are looking at the Cowboys like, oh, I would love to go win a title with a star on my helmet. That looks a lot different. But how important is it becoming a Cowboy, right? Or becoming a Yankee when you're going to win 93 games and then get laughed at by the Toronto Blue Jays when they go on to win the pennant and then go lose to the Dodgers, who really now are the big bad wolf. The Yankees need to earn their stripes again, and then maybe we can tap back into this market.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And, you know, it's funny because I still remember when Kei Agawa was coming out and being posted, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at the time. I didn't feel confident. I was like, if you can get Daisuke, I like Daisuke. I didn't like what I was reading about Kei Agawa. I didn't like his numbers. And then I watched a little bit of him. I just didn't vibe with him, right? Sure enough, he's the pivot option. He's awful. Well, now the Kei Agawa in 2024 is Imanaga, and he's great. And really, just the Japanese do it better than we do. They just do. The preparation, you know, that's why these Japanese players are so good. You hear about it. You hear about the mechanics. Very rarely do these guys have poor mechanics.
Did you see Yamamoto has a whole instructor on how to use his body and how to stretch? And he's talking about how your body is a trunk and your arms are branches. I'm like,
this is what I mean. They just
now, mind you,
they
I
take
love
it
listening
so
to that, but
seriously.
they take it very seriously,
Which is how you
a good
should.
thing. Yes. Yep.
So we should send Alejandro Kirk to Japan. My bad.
Right.
My
Well,
bad.
Luka. Well, I mean, if you think about it, different cultures pull more out of you, right? Now,
Yeah.
for now, mind you, maybe right. Yamamoto would have done the same thing for the Yankees, brought that coach to the Yankees, all that stuff. But you see, like a Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks, he's just eating whatever he wants. He doesn't really care. He's just jogging up the court. I'm gonna chuck up a three. Joins the Lakers. Finishes his first year, kind of the same status, shows up into year 2 looking like a completely different person, right? So sometimes just being a part of a certain culture pulls more out of you, and that's where the Yankees need to get to. We need to become a culture that pours more out of talent and brings great talent through the door as well. And that's not a place we're in right now. So we'll see what we do, what this offseason looks like, if we can become winners, or at the very least, we love the way our offense looks. It's a major problem, but as well, Jake, our starting pitching at the top level, we don't have a ceiling where we would like it to be. We don't have that guy that we can throw the ball to in game 1 and know for an absolute fact in short rest 3-4 days later, he might be able to go back on the mound and go out and dominate again. That Zach Wheeler, right? That prime Garrett Cole that we're looking for, the Scoobles. The Yankees do need that. And we'll see if they can accomplish it, at least during the winter meetings, and actually get it started, but maybe even with the Japanese market. So who knows what will happen. And you just threw Izzy up on the screen. Gotta love, by the way, that Izzy goes into the comment section. I always notice actually commenting the number of likes. So by the way, guys, be sure to like the video.
I've noticed
subscribe.
that as well.
Yeah, you notice that? So Izzy, I really appreciate that. Helps
Noted
remind
for
people
that.
to like the video and support the channel. So we do appreciate you being here. Says, I'm in LA watching back-to-back parades. It wasn't easy. Yeah, that's just a sick day. You don't go out after that.
You're just like, yeah, I don't care that it's 75 and sunny. I'm just gonna stay in. Not trying to see that. But to be fair, the Dodgers winning again. I know we kind of talked ourselves into it the middle of the season that they weren't going to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
But this was always the assumption that they were going to win the World Series for half of the year. And then the other half of the year, we're like, yeah, they're probably not going to win. I mean, it is what it is. Toronto winning would have been way worse, in my opinion. Way worse.
I completely agree. I think it would, for us, it would have been way worse if the Blue Jays had won the World Series.
They're not going to be like, oh, Toronto won, we have to make all these moves. No, this is just the fans. The Yankees don't get, they're not embarrassed by this. The fans are embarrassed. No. Think about how bad it would have been. Little brother, Toronto. You lose to them, they eliminate you, and then they do what you couldn't do and beat the team that beat you in the World Series.
They look way better doing it. The Jays look better than us the whole time.
Yeah, they did.
We scrapped by the Boston Red Sox. It felt good beating them. They
should have won the World Series. They 100% should have.
Yeah.
I don't know why some guys in their... Like, you got Yes Network, and I've talked about this before, but, like, these guys have, like, professionalism. Every time I see somebody for the Blue Jays Network or whatever, they're always sounding like just complete jabronis. Like,
which, by the way, is surprising because Canadians are so nice. They are.
Yeah,
they're
but you hear
just
that
nice.
One guy?
Which guy?
He was like, it's going to be sour grapes, or, you could call it sour grapes, but
oh my God,
the better team, it's bullshit. The better team did not win this.
I hear what he's saying,
but shut up.
Keep it to yourself.
Shut up.
I get what he's saying, because what he's saying is that Mookie Betts was saying, right? What other Dodgers players were saying. He said, we won the World Series. We didn't really play that well, right? That's okay. It's about winning and losing. That's baseball. That's the NBA.
The fittest.
It's the NFL. We all just have to live in that reality. It doesn't matter that Yamamoto pitched like one of the greatest pitchers of all time. If Rojas boots that ball at second base and he doesn't make the play, he throws it away. If IKF takes a better secondary, a much better secondary. He goes in standing up. He probably scores. If this, if that, if that, if this, you can make all these changes and change the outcome. Everybody understands that about sports, but it doesn't matter what you think about how you played. What matters is the result. That's why we play. That's what makes it so fun. So there's no sense in saying how good you played and that you thought you definitely should have won. Just keep it to yourself and let other people say that. So especially if you cover the team, there's no reason to, if Ben Rice with the bases loaded and 2 outs hits a ball 119, it goes right to the right fielder, we're like, oh, that should have been a home run. Just accept the rules and how the game works and just say you lost and keep it moving.
Yeah, no, when I saw that, my first thought was, we can say that. But if you're on TV, the hell are you doing? The hell are you doing?
Covering that team. If the Yankees, by the way, had lost the same way, it would look bad if we said it. It would look bad. But when you're not covering the team and you have no horse in the race, you can make the claim of, I thought the Blue Jays probably played better. Like I thought Vladdy Jr. was the hottest offensively of the stars, right? You're talking about what Clement was doing, what Bo Bichette was doing in his short stint in the postseason. There were so many players that were playing well for the Jays. You easily could make the argument, right? Mookie Betts was awful. He was defensively very sharp. Loved what he was doing with the glove, but offensively, he didn't look like Mookie Betts. And that was the whole year thing, right? Dealt with the weight loss at the beginning of the year. It was a struggle. And you could easily make the argument, right? Blake Snell was awful. And yet, they still found a way to just go out and win the World Series. So I get what he was saying. It just, the messenger was just not the right person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say this. You know, my one thing I'd probably never say on TV if I was in his position, but it's true.
What's that?
If Alejandro Kirk wasn't like completely out of shape and doesn't ground into a double play and actually could have beat that out. Because by the way, Cody Bellinger beats it out.
Yeah, there's always things that can change. If he does that,
Vladimir Guerrero scores, it's a tie game.
Yeah, and also I wanted to put it up on screen. Welkin brings it up. The Jays had the worst base running I've ever seen. Now, there was no reason
Yankees had a way worse base running.
Yeah, the Jays had the second worst base running you've ever seen. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of them, but if they ran the bases more sound in that moment, right? That's a singular moment. Very hard to overly judge a roster and call them names or make out conclusions. But if they had ran the bases more sound in that moment, they're World Series champions, right? Yeah. So things can change. That's why Jake and I take this so serious as far as watching Austin Wells not know the outs, watching Jason Dominguez not know the outs 4 different times this year, right? Not knowing that the inning's over and you're sitting there holding the baseball in the outfield, throwing the ball to bases. You don't know where to go with the ball. You don't know the situation. The reason it matters is because you get in October in these situations, and it may put you in a spot where you play better than the other team as far as performance, but the fundamentals send you home. The Yankees went home in 2024 in a short series because they couldn't play catch, because they couldn't do basic PFPs. That's why. It's not because the Dodgers were that much better than the Yankees. The Dodgers were a better team than us last year. There's no question about that. But it wasn't as massive as what you saw in the World Series. But when you don't practice the fundamentals and you don't hone those in, you look bad and you embarrass yourself. The Jays lost the World Series because they didn't hone in the fundamentals at a time that they needed to. They did that well all year. I want to make that clear. That's what we praised them about the whole year, Jake, was their fundamentals, tagging up from first and getting to second on balls to the outfield. And you're like, wow, this is impressive. I wish we could do some of this. And you go to the World Series and it ended up being their Achilles heel. It's a bummer for them, but obviously for us, I'm glad a team in division didn't win the World Series.
Yeah, 100%. I think that World Series was good for baseball. I think it definitely put the sport back on track, I would say. The Yankees and Dodgers World Series was good for baseball because it got the attention of more people. But I thought the Blue Jays, it became very Canada versus U.S. as well. So I think that also boded well, or whatever the hell you say in that sentence.
Boded.
Boded well.
Yeah, boded. we need a shirt for that.
That boded well. Yeah, I don't know if that's how you say it, but anyway, it went pretty well. For he's still cracking up over there. He's like, I can't. Even
It bodes well.
It bodes well. Yeah. I see in the comment section USA. No. But yeah.
The World Series was great. It was the best World Series I've seen. I'm trying to think, when was the last time you saw a World Series that good?
I mean, dude, it felt like every game was going to go to extra innings. Oh my god, I almost said overtime. Can you tell? You've
been doing a lot of coverage. Well, NFL is overtime, NBA is overtime. There's a lot of overtime.
But yeah, I honestly when Vladdy, because they went into the was it the bottom of the 11th, right? Bottom of the 11th. They went into that.
Sounds
and I was
right.
Just like, I saw Vladdy was coming up, and I'm like, they're gonna win this game. There's no way in my mind the Blue Jays were gonna lose. No way. Yamamoto's coming out to pitch a second inning after he just pitched the night before. Dude, I'm so glad, because honestly, I understand Ohtani's the best in the world at what he does. I get it.
Yeah.
But I was so worried he was going to win the MVP and Yamamoto wasn't going to get the respect he deserved. I'm so glad he won the MVP.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. I would agree with you. I thought Ohtani, some of it, right? Like MVP also it's a vote, so it can always go one. Yamamoto, he just couldn't have been better. He couldn't have.
No.
It was Madison Bumgarner performance.
That was Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Madison Bumgarner. I mean, that was so gutsy, dude. He threw so many pitches, but that's what you do when you have literally no more games. This is it. There's no result that's going to happen that leads you to having another game. This is the end.
Boone would have took him out at 93 pitches.
Oh, I know. I don't
get him ready for spring training the next year.
Yeah, right. I wanted to say this to the point that you were making about how it's not always going to look pretty in a championship game. Okay. It's the last game of the year, but I also look at it in terms of like, you watch a movie, whether it's a superhero movie or you're watching like Rocky Balboa, right? Notice how they get to the final act and that's when like the tide turns, but like they got their ass kicked, and like Rocky Balboa, like obviously in any normal boxing match, the fight would have been stopped because his eye is like CGI, like almost like gone.
They don't block a single punch in that whole series.
Like just getting
it's basically Dragon Ball Z with real people. Live action.
Yeah, live action Dragon Ball Z without the ki blasts. Anyway, point being, that is kind of how I look at the end of the year. It doesn't matter as long as you're the last one standing. Oh yeah, it didn't look pretty. Do you think anybody's going to remember that the Dodgers didn't play their best baseball 10 years from now?
God, no.
No.
We won't. How about during spring training of this year, the Dodgers are going to sign. They may sign Kyle Tucker. They may sign Murakami. Who knows who they'll sign? We're going to be thinking about the three-peat. We won't remember what it looked like in 2024. People will hardly remember they played the Yankees. They won't remember that they played the Jays in the second time around. They're only thinking about a three-peat. That's how it works. When you think about the 98 Yankees, I don't think about who the hell they played. And there were great players on the other side. I know who they played, but you don't think about it. You don't. You think about the winners. Agree. Yeah, you just think about the winners, man.
I will say the World Series is a little bit more forgiving. It feels like the Super Bowl is it's literally designed to create potentially a dynasty for whoever wins, and for whoever loses to literally bury 6 feet under.
Yeah, Legion of Boom was like, we're going for a three-peat. Here's year 2. They lose, throw a pick in the end zone, and I was there for that. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, thank God they lost. And all of a sudden, the whole team's collapsing the next year. It's like, what just happened? Well, the NFL is designed, but to your point, sometimes you get to the championship and you're on that stage, but other times you're kind of just there when you become the loser, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's honestly, that's just the way sports is. I mean, runner-up is only good in like a video game, or what's the runner-up? What do they say? What's the saying?
If you ain't first, you're last.
Well, I know that's a saying, but like runner-up is only good for people who didn't have expectations to begin with.
Yeah, like I would say the Jays, there's no question. Jays fans wanted to win the World Series. I'm not going to sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
But the Jays making it to a World Series was a major success this year. Major for them. Major success. Right. No one had the expectation that the Jays were going to go where they went. The Dodgers winning the pennant, on the other hand, and losing wouldn't matter. If Derek Jeter's Yankees, right? Derek Jeter's led Yankees went into the World Series and lost, right? Like, let's just say we can redo the 2004 ALCS. We're up 3-0. They can undo it all, and they beat the Red Sox. We get to the World Series. They lose in the World Series to, I believe, the St. Louis Cardinals. It's not making any of us feel better. We lost in the World Series. It sucks. That's the way we would have seen it. So sometimes you just remember winning, and if you lose, you don't remember it at all. It's unfortunate, but is reality.
As Ivan Drago said, if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies, and we died in 2024. But Jake, let's get to our voicemails. We didn't expect to go an hour 20. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but you know what? That's our audience, right?
No, it was fun.
In a nutshell, yeah, it is fun. All right, let's
Ninja
get to
Hot
Buzz
Dog
Lightyear.
and Kyle, right?
We got Ninja, we got Buzz Lightyear. So
beautiful. I know Ninja's got a scroll. I know that.
Yep.
What's up, Gary and Jake? I'm pretty sure there's going to be a stream tonight because it's Thursday, so let's talk. First off, I gotta congratulate, not thank, the Japanese Dodgers for winning the championship. I was very unhappy. The Blue Jays were like so close, but then they left the bases loaded and all that. I don't know, felt like the Blue Jays left in the middle of the game, or in the middle of the series for that matter, and they swapped out for the Yankees, and the Yankees in like June, they played in June form for the rest of that series, but whatever. I hear that there are rumors about Kyle Schwarber. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but everyone's talking about Schwarber, so I'm assuming that's what you guys are going to talk about. I didn't know much about him, but I looked at his stats and all that, and all I gotta say is an average hitter, when you look at the average-wise, hits an extreme amount of home runs, and now they're being targeted by the Yankees. It feels very oddly familiar to me, Giancarlo Stanton. However, I'm going to say that we should try to acquire Kyle Schwarber. However,
wasn't
I saw
expecting
like
that.
a headline that said $300 million. Not for $300 million. That is way too much. I think we should focus on either Kyle Tucker or Bellinger at this point. Maybe Schwarber, but not for $300 million. Also, I saw that we gave Trent Grisham a qualifying offer. That feels a bit like dialing it in, but I guess we have to lock in our outfield first. I think we need to focus on the infield because we have we have Jazz and Volpe, and they're playing like crap. We have to focus on replacing those guys, but whatever. I get the outfield thing. So, fire Baboon.
Clumping
Hell of a
Jazz with
voicemail.
Volpe is brutal. Like that.
Yeah.
Like,
30-30 year. I mean, it wasn't like a Hall of Fame year. I'm not going to like overblow the stolen bases anymore. Like, I would agree with you, Jake. But
yeah.
no way Volpe is going to wrap in with Jazz.
Oh,
I
felt so bad for Jazz in that moment. Appreciate
Yeah.
you, Ninja Hot Dog. But yeah, that was wild. What was the one I was going to get to?
Well, Kyle Schwarber is also 32, right? We're trying to capitalize on the window of Judge, and I do think the Yankees, I shouldn't say they should prioritize young players like rookies, but isn't there a lot of value in the fact that Kyle Tucker is 28 years old? That should matter, right? He'll be good today. 2026 opening day, he'll also be a good player 3-4 years from now. There's value in that for the Yankees. There's value in that for the Dodgers. There's value in that for a lot of teams that are good today who have a lot of aging veteran talent. The Yankees have that. So it's nice to have a mix, have some rookies around the block so you can stay relevant longer. But let's be real. If you sign a player like a Kyle Schwarber, whether you think the fit's good or not, he goes out there, plays really well for, say, a year, and he has a slight decline, maybe he declines in age 34 season, you're talking about having a 34-year-old Schwarber, right? A Giancarlo Stanton who's 36, 37 years old, an Aaron Judge who's 36, 37. The roster gets old pretty quick. So at least let's consider some of those things before getting some of these players. And Jake, you know how I feel about worrying about 2-3 years from now today, but you have to be somewhat aware of that.
Oh, yeah. No, of course. And the Jersey Girl, thank you for the 2. 1977 World Series Game 6, only because I was there.
Was that Mr. October against the Dodgers?
That had to have been, right?
Yeah, I feel like that was Reggie Jackson. Now, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure.
All 3 pitchers he had a home run off of.
I believe he would.
I'm going to look it up right now, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that was when he was running through the fans. Like the fans are running out on the field. Could you imagine if that happened today? They'd lose their mind.
Oh my goodness. No, wasn't that game like
I thought it was 6. It wasn't 7. I believe it was either game 5 or game 6. I'm pretty sure it was 6.
Reggie Jackson. Oh my God. They won 8-4, game 6, final game, Yankee Stadium. And Reggie Jackson hit 2. Chris Chambliss hit a home run too. So they were just to have 4 home runs back then. That's kind of crazy in a game.
Yeah, that was before home run or bust was the thing.
Mickey Rivers, great leadoff hitter.
That is the most that is a 1920s name. Mickey Rivers.
Mickey Rivers, man, was a great leadoff hitter. Dude, this lineup, you want to know how far away the Yankees were this year? Listen to this lineup, okay?
Yeah.
Mickey Rivers, Willie Randolph, Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson, Chris Chambliss, Greg Nettles, Lou Piniella, Bucky Dent. Like, obviously Bucky Dent is like not great, although he's better than Volpe.
Love the name though. It sounds very like Winter Soldier-esque.
Well, do you know this?
Dent.
Do you know? I mean, like Boston fans, obviously, you know about Bucky Dent's home run against Boston.
Yes.
Yeah, and how they call him Bucky fucking Dent. They hate him because he hit the home run.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Boston fans hate his guts.
Okay.
Just like Aaron Boone to a degree. Anyway.
Okay.
Point being, this lineup, Lou Piniella hit 302, Reggie Jackson hit 306. He also had an 1100 OPS.
Okay.
Thurman Munson hit 304. Mickey Rivers hit 300. Like, do you see I'm talking? Like, Greg Nettles was a Gold Glove, like elite level third baseman. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what they need to have. They need to have more contact. Well, Chris Chambliss ran through. That's right. It was Chris Chambliss. It wasn't Reggie that ran through. Reggie was rounding the bases, and then they're like, guys would just be like rabid and just come out of the friggin' stands, and they would just run with him. Like when Hank Aaron hit his 740 something home run.
The people with Hank Aaron, at the very least, there was at very least some grace as far as what they were doing when they walked up to him. Like some of them, right? Now, mind you, I would never in my life do this. Never.
It's so psychotic.
They went out there and they were like, let me hold your arm. For what? Right? That was just weird. But
I love the way you just said that.
What are you doing?
That was hilarious.
When you're just like, I'm going to draw a charge from Reggie Jackson or whoever else just in the middle of the base pass. What are you doing standing in front of him? What do you expect to happen in that moment? Right? Like, if Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hits a hook shot and wins the NBA Finals and you run out on the court and just jog right in front of him. What do you expect to happen? You just jump on the back of Michael Jordan in the 1998 NBA Finals. He hits the game-winning shot, holds the follow-through, and Gary jumps on his back and puts his arms around his neck. What do you expect to happen other than to get just bulldozed? What are you doing? So I just question.
That happened with Kirk Gibson too when he was doing the thing.
I don't remember if fans touched Kirk Gibson. I'm not sure.
I'll have to
obviously. Because obviously all you remember is the fist pump, and it was awesome. But what are you thinking? Running out onto the field and touching the fans. This isn't college where you know the shooting guard on the team. He makes a game-winning shot and you storm the court. That's college. That's
And I still
if you
hate
want to
that,
do.
but
I hate it, but it's college. I can live with it. Right? It's not my thing. But Kyle Schwarber signs with the Boston Red Sox and hits a walk-off, and Red Sox fans are going to run out onto the field and grab his arm and his legs. That makes no sense to me. I'll never understand it.
I literally cannot. I just love the way, like, that's weird.
It's so strange.
Dude,
it is.
Like, who was raised into, like, a home that was like, we do this in this house?
I would guess the reason it happened so much, because people in the comments are saying that the 70s were wild or whatever it is, right? The excuses for the era. But I would assume it was a little bit less strict as far as running out on the field when you're not supposed to. Because if you remember, there was a point where Cody Bellinger played for the Dodgers and he came up as a rookie, and a bunch of young women would just run out on the field and act like they're proposing to him, and they thought it was cute. But they get kicked out of Dodger Stadium, right?
And they're banned
permanently
for life.
Right. That's not worth it. Just to be somewhat ironic and funny. That makes no sense. If you're a Dodgers fan, that's not worth it.
No, God, no. I remember. Do you remember? It was, I forget what game it was. It was a primetime game, but the Rams were playing, I think, the 49ers, and that, like, animal activist started, like, running around with, like, pink smoke, and Bobby Wagner destroyed it. like,
That's what should happen. I'm here to tell you right now.
Oh my God.
If anyone runs out on the field to make any statement, I just want Troy Polamalu to just be let loose and just go helmet to helmet with this person. Just run over this person.
Helmet to
I don't care what
actual
happens to him.
brain. Like,
Yeah, I want to see CTE on this fan. Run them over head on.
no, that's how I felt. I loved it. And you know, people were like, "Oh, he could have been really hurt." Well, you know what? Don't go on the football field. Don't go on the baseball diamond. Don't go on the basketball court.
That's a very
Stay
politically
the fuck
correct.
in your seat. I don't.
That's a very
understand why this
politically
is so
correct thing
hard.
for you to say, Jake. I hope they get hurt. If you go out onto the field in I don't know,
Oh my!
if Aaron
God.
Judge decides that he wants to stick his cleat out and trip you and help the security and you twist your knee, then don't run out onto the field.
Well, and like
You have the choice. If you
security-
fall on the field, I feel sorry for you, right? That's happened before. But when you make the choice to
Yeah.
just go streaking out on the field, I hope someone tackles the hell out of you.
Yeah, I love Kevin Harlan when somebody goes on the field.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, and we got this goofball on the field." It's like, he just starts roasting him. He's like, he doesn't have much going on in his life.
You
He's to
can
the
tell
20.
when someone's done it. You can tell when you're watching the game and there's a streaker on the field or somebody just on the field in general because they do that tight shot of the hitter. It's
Yeah.
like a little zoomed, and all of a sudden you just see the hitter and you just see him go. You know it's somebody running on the
Oh,
field.
yeah.
You actually saw Vladdy do it. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was hitting, and all of a sudden you see him look up and he went, "Oh, there's somebody out there."
Yeah,
And there's the rule is you just never show it. I think it was because of Janet Jackson. They're like, we're not showing any lunatic out there showing anything.
Yeah.
You
No,
never know what
it's-
they could show us.
It's wild. Michael K's always like, "Yep," and of course there's somebody out there right now. Like, you know, he's just trying to like,
Yeah,
But
it
then
slows
like, you
down
have
their
Kevin
process.
Harlan who's like, "Some goofball is running all over the field." It's like, and look at this idiot. Oh man, I'd have fun with it. I'd be like, exactly like Kevin Harlan does it. I'd just be like, "Oh," but no, the best thing ever, the Bobby Wagner hit. If you guys have homework tonight, you want to look up one thing. You want to look up a fan getting decked. Bobby Wagner is one of the hardest hitting linebackers in the sport. Currently plays for Washington. But, dude, that guy got folded like an accordion. Just gone. But, yeah, definitely check it out. It's even funnier because he's running around with that stupid pink freaking, like, smoke thing.
I'll put it on my list. All I watch at night with my wife is we watch news bloopers. We'll watch an hour and a half long montage of newscasters just making bloopers. It is
Oh,
the
have you
best.
seen the one with Holly Ellenbogen gets decked by the sign?
I'm not sure.
It's
I've
viral.
I've seen the one where they start running in the snow and the girl falls on her back. That's a good one.
I don't actually know if I'm related to her, and I hope she's okay. But like everyone always sends me, "Oh, are you related to this woman?" And she just gets freaking boom, like
was
stop
she in the
sign hits her
snow
in the face? No, it's like she was covering like a storm, and the stop sign blew and hit her in the head.
You look like you're dressed right now for a storm.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, did you see the comments? They're like, "Are you cold?" I was like, "Yes, I'm in upstate New York." This is what upstate New Yorkers look like in November.
Yeah, and I just came back from Costco in Arizona, and I was in this. I was in a T-shirt. It was 75.
I mean, I was in a T-shirt until it got cold, and then I was like, screw this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Didn't Kyle leave us a voicemail, by the way, we need to get to?
Buzz Lightyear himself.
Yeah, let Buzz
that,
get it rolling.
Trip down memory lane, and not that I have any memory of that. I was not born. I was probably negative 20-something, negative 30. I'm not going to do the math, but not even close to being born yet in the 70s. But, yeah. But I know old school baseball, and I've seen all those videos and stuff. So, great conversation, by the way. I love that topic. That was great.
Yeah.
All right. Buzz Lightyear himself, and then we end the show.
Hey, guys. Tom Light here. I'm not so sure about the Grisham qualifying offer. He might take it, but I'm not so quite sure because he's got one long-term deal. But at least the Yankees get a draft pick. But, yeah, I really want Kyle Tucker and Tyreek Skubal on this team. Tell me what you think about that. And I don't really want Murakami. I want that other third baseman, Otaka, or however you say it.
It's your guy, Jake.
Akamoto.
Yeah, let's all have a good night. And it's going to be a long weekend for me because tomorrow is my daughter's 10th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And yeah. Let's all have a good night, and let's go Yankees. Hopefully Hal wakes up, because he still hasn't spoken since after the season. But, yeah, let's all have a good night, and go Yankees.
Please.
Yeah, it's weekend, and Bernie's over there.
Every day's the weekend for Hal. He's in his Sleep Master.
He's in a hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, the dude's in a hyperbaric chamber in the middle of the ocean on his yacht. He's not worried about any of this. He's got a plan that's set in stone. Brian Cashman's going to work around it and do his magic with his budget. And we should just stop asking Hal to make any adjustments. He's not. So we can just stop with it. He's not. He is, thank you, Brendan, he is hibernating. It's exactly the description.
Sandy Cheeks in that SpongeBob episode.
Yes, yes, that's my favorite episode of SpongeBob.
It's great.
But when it comes to Kyle Tucker, because I want to address him, we haven't really talked about him. I like the idea, Kyle Tucker. He's not the perfect signing in the world. Is he the best outfielder in the game? No. Is he a great outfielder who's had great seasons and he's still 28 years old? Yes. Right? There aren't any Ohtani, Aaron Judge level players out on the market. But just because that's the case doesn't mean it would be a great signing as an addition to this roster. So people are going to talk all day long about what players are worth. If you pay players what they're worth, you don't get anyone. That's the way this game works, unfortunately. That's the way unrestricted free agency works. This isn't the NFL where everyone's got a pie chart. This is a game with no salary cap, and the teams that make the most revenue have the most leeway to make the most mistakes and spend the most money. The Yankees should be able to go out and spend over what the asking price should be to bring in talented players. So Kyle, when a player like Kyle Tucker's available and people say, "Oh, I'd have him for $200 million," but they don't want to have him for $300, you have to ask yourself, what the hell would we do or care that other $100 million was going out the door? We want great players. But if people have a better idea of what the Yankees can do, other than Kyle Tucker, whether it be dealing for Quan, right, bringing other players into the mix, Bo Bichette, being more contact-oriented, I believe Kyle Schwarber helps them do both. Sign a free agent, you hang on to young talent, and it gives you an opportunity to get a lot better. So the thing about Murakami and not being a fit, Jake, I think you echo that. So obviously I'll give you the floor on that. We're looking for, I would love Japanese talent, but I'm also looking for more contact-oriented Japanese talent. I think that would just tick all the boxes.
Yeah, my thing about Murakami is that it's just the bat-to-ball skills are just not there like they are for Okamoto.
Sure.
And he's had injuries. He's not the guy that hit 50 home runs. Like, he hasn't done that.
Is it 2022 he did that?
Yeah, he did that
He's
the
still
year Aaron
25.
Judge broke the record.
Yeah, he's Murakami, to be exact. He's 6'2", 25 years old, right? So
Yeah.
this is a younger player than Juan Soto was when he reached free agency. This is a young player. So still has a lot of room to get better, right? This is baseball. It doesn't usually take you that long to be great, but he could look like a completely different asset 2-3 years from now. Like a great player. There's certainly the possibility, but I think the Yankees are probably out of the stage of any projects or things that could work and maybe we can give it a try. The Yankees probably should be spending that extra dollar on players they know what they'll be. And I don't think Murakami is exactly the polished product just yet of what they need him to be.
I wanted to throw this at you because I don't know if you saw this, but this is going around on Twitter. We'll wrap the show on this.
Boy.
Murakami versus Okamoto. Plate appearances that ended with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball plus.
Okay. There's a lot of those.
Yes. That career stats. Murakami, 254. Okamoto, 289. Murakami, 47 hits. Okamoto, 86. Murakami, 16 homers. Okamoto, 19. Murakami, 34 RBIs. Okamoto, 61. Murakami, 188 batting average. Okamoto, 289. Murakami, a 362 on base. Okamoto, 383. Slugging for Murakami is at a 400, whereas Okamoto is at 534. You have a 762 OPS for Murakami, and you have a 916 OPS for Okamoto. I see WRC plus. I'm not reading it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, done.
Anyway, the point being, what do you think about that? Like, just that's kind of interesting.
So the stats you're reading, you're essentially saying against pitchers with plus stuff
Yes.
in non-opportunistic counts, 2-strike counts. One player does X, the other player does Y. One of those players excels in tough situations against good pitching, and the other is just okay. The Yankees are trying to get better at non-ideal at-bats. You go down 0-2, ball 1. Foul a pitch off, ball 2. Foul another 2 pitches off, ball 3. Okay, I've got myself back into the count. Spray a single the other way, right? Ugly. Bo Bichette type at-bats. Clement at-bats, right? Having the ability to grind. You're only grinding against the great pitching. What do I need to grind for when I'm seeing the Marlins 5-starter? You don't need to. You get a fastball at some point. You get a mistake at some point. Maybe a couple times a game. You're going to drive 2 of them. You're going to hit for power. That's great. We're going to high five. You get your stats. But when you go see Tarek Skubal and you go see Crochet in Boston, right, and you go on the road, tough games, really tough. We need you to have the ability to see 93 miles an hour plus, 2-strike counts. What do you look like in those situations? And if you don't look good, why would I put you in pinstripes and see if you can be good? You weren't good in Japan in those situations. Why are you going to be good at New York? Why are you going to be good for the Mets? Why are you going to be good for the Dodgers in those situations? The Dodgers may not need you to be electric right away, so they could sign you, but the Yankees need something right away that's ready to do those things. And what you read, he wasn't doing those things just yet. And like I said, this is a 25-year-old player. He can fix those things. But I'm not signing players for millions of dollars to try to fix something. I'm signing you so you can fill a hole that I don't have filled yet. That's what your job is as a free agent. So when we're going out and signing Murakami, I don't want Murakami, not because I don't think he'll be a good player. I think he'll be a good player in Major League Baseball. I believe that. But it's not what the Yankees need right now. They need two-strike, grinding type at-bats. They need more Cody Bellingers, Bichettes, those ugly at-bats that turn into success to move the line to our big sluggers. We need more table setters, and I'm just not sure. This to me seems like a slugging 5 and 6 hitter for good lineups.
You know what's so funny to me about Murakami is that he reminds me of a player who's had a pretty decent career.
Who's that?
I see Marcell Ozuna.
Okay, so he's got pop, but it's not light tower pop.
No, like he had a 40 home run season. He had 29, 23, 39. Like he's had those, but he has 3 years in which he had over 100 RBIs. You know, he's going to bat 260-ish and a career 806 OPS. That's not a bad player, but
no,
I'm not trying to, like, people were saying he was generational, and I want to just pump the brakes there. Like, I think Okamoto is going to be like, what's his name? The Yankee killer on the Red Sox who we can't stand. Yoshida. He's going to be like Yoshida on with some extra juice, we'll say. I'm not going to say
do you see
on
Suzuki
drugs.
in him? Cubs?
Seiya Suzuki?
Yeah.
I don't think he has as much pop.
Okay. Totally
Yeah.
valid. None of them are the same player, obviously.
Yeah.
But as far as player comps go, this is more the style at bat I think the Yankees fans are looking for.
Yeah,
That's the
I
angle
think
that they should go
like
for.
he'll be like Yoshida on steroids, but not actually on steroids.
Well, hell, if he wants to be on steroids, just don't get caught. That's, I guess, the name of the game. Got to outsmart the system.
And Jay Banks, last thing here, Murakami had a .095 batting average against pitches 93 miles per hour or harder last season in NPB. Yeah, I
Is
mean
9% bad?
Yeah, that's just not. I'm not rooting against him. I understand how this can come off when you throw out stats. It looks like you have an angle. I have no angle. If Murakami was great, I'd be rooting for him. I've been on record saying Japanese players just succeed now. Everybody hits.
Yep, seems like it.
I want to visit Japan. I have a lot of respect for Japanese players. I have no issue with Japanese players.
Go in the winter.
But Murakami, I'm telling you right now, has some serious red flags that the same people in Yankees universe on social media, what have you, that are concerned about Spencer Jones want to give this guy money who has not identical red flags, worse red flags than Spencer Jones, in my opinion. That I don't understand.
Yeah, he's much more expensive. It could work.
Defender, nowhere near as good of a defender as Spencer
The
Jones is
teams
in
that
the
should
outfield.
sign Murakami are the teams that don't need him to solve the problems that we have to solve.
Yeah.
The Yankees need more contact. The Dodgers don't. The Jays
Dodgers
don't,
should
right?
sign him. He should be
Yes.
the successor to Max Muncy. That's what he should
Which
be.
is fine. They have the exact same role, right? Max Muncy's not a premier defensive glove.
Nope.
He's a power bat. You saw him bring the game within one during the World Series. It was a huge run for them. Murakami's got the type of power just like a Max Muncy, right? It doesn't have to be the same, but the profile's the same. So it's not going to change the dynamic of their roster. And it's another Japanese player. It's just going to make everyone more comfortable and more acclimated. It's a good thing for them, right? He could go to the Giants. He can go to the Mariners. I'm sure the Mets will talk to him. I'm sure the Yankees may talk to him, but I don't think this would be horrible, right? Murakami wouldn't be a nightmare, but there are red flags that I want you all to be aware of. So we'll obviously talk about those players more at length as we go into winter meetings. I know he'll be posted very shortly, which I'm excited for. I am. I saw that. I was just looking at the screen. It says Kyle Schwarber was born in March of 1993. I cannot believe I'm barely older than this man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Barely.
Well, I think that's going to do it because if we don't cut it off now, it's going to hit 2 hours, and I just can't believe our show. I truly, it's mind-blowing. This show goes longer than my Rams shows, and the Rams are playing in the middle of the season. So
Yeah, every time. I don't know how it happens, but We got to all our voicemails from our diamond levels. B-Rye, thank you for becoming a diamond level. Again, really appreciate your support. All of our super chats, you guys have been great. Our live chats as well. We're going to be giving you guys full coverage. We saw somebody on Twitter, Jake sent me something. Someone said, are you guys going to be covering the World Baseball Classic? And I was definitely open to it. We'll see how that goes, if it's possible for us to do it. Obviously, I've got a daughter I've got to take care of, and Jake's very busy as well. But if we can, we will.
Yeah.
And we'll obviously keep you guys up to date as far as free agency goes and as that starts. And in winter meetings, just to give you guys forewarning, we've sent in all of our stuff for winter meetings. If they approve us to cover it, we're going to be in the lobby and covering winter meetings. If they don't, we're going to be sitting our behinds right here and covering the winter meetings from our desks. So we'll see what Major League Baseball lets us do. The ball's in their court, but we have every intention on covering the event live in Orlando. So it's time to go to Disney World.
Yay. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
That said, we really do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I mean, absolutely insane that we have over 200 people this late in the year. I mean, just insane. So we really do appreciate you guys for real. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button. Go tell somebody about Yankees Unloaded. Somebody new, not the same person, but tell somebody new. And in the comments section, let us know if you would like to see us covering all of the World Baseball Classic or not. Put that in the comments section. Yes, say WBC or no WBC.
Or give us an actual option of what to cover, because obviously that would probably be most helpful. Drop that in the comment section, not the live chat, the comments after we're gone. Subscribe, like the video.